Okay, welcome to episode 3 of my road to 1 Bitcoin. I want to go into detail in this video. A brief but detailed explanation of how to read the Bitcoin chart and also where we are right now in the market in comparison to where we have been. Is Bitcoin a reliable asset? Does Bitcoin's past reflect Bitcoin's future? I believe it does. There's a fixed supply of Bitcoin in the world. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever produced, and that's it, because that's the way the algorithm works. Apparently most of it has already been mined, and apparently there's only 2 million Bitcoin left on exchanges. So if there's only 2 million Bitcoin left on exchanges, how long do we have before that runs out? And also what happens when it runs out? So I'm going to open up the chart and kind of dive into a little bit of detail. I'll probably timestamp down below. If you already know how the charts work, I'll put a timestamp down below and you can fast forward it to, wherever you need. But yeah, why have I chosen Bitcoin? I believe Bitcoin is going to be a scarcity in the future based on its supply, only 21 million. I believe it's going to run out relatively fast based on the fact that billionaires and billionaire companies and also governments around the world are buying Bitcoin in bulk. And at the speed they're buying it, Bitcoin is going to run out quite fast. And why I choose Bitcoin over other assets like property. I'm not choosing it over property, but I'm prioritizing it right now over property. Why I choose Bitcoin over other assets. The simple answer to that is the more money that gets printed and created, the more that happens, the value of the money you hold is devalued, because if there's £100 in the world and someone creates £1 billion in the world, your £100 or that initial £100 isn't such a big deal anymore. And that's how money works right now. Governments and institutions and the Federal Reserve or whoever it is that prints money, they can literally just turn on the printers, press print, and dump a load of money into society. And what happens when they do that? You've still got, let's say, £1,000 in your bank. You still have that number, £1,000, but what happens is your coffee gets more expensive, property gets more expensive, because there's more money in circulation. As money becomes less valuable because more is in circulation, that naturally just drives up asset prices. So it's nice if you've got assets. When inflation happens, your assets go up in price. That feels good. But when you don't have assets and you only have cash, especially when you're getting paid in cash, and you're getting paid less than you need to keep up with inflation alone. If we want to try and keep up with inflation, we need our wages to go up about 7%, 10% every single year just to keep up with inflation and cost of bills. So for me, it doesn't make any sense to hold cash. It makes more sense to hold assets. And the number one asset in the world, I believe, right now is gold, but I think Bitcoin is going to overtake gold, because I believe Bitcoin is more scarce than gold, is easier to acquire, it's easier to move around, and there's other reasons. But yeah, I'm going to open the charts. We've opened up the Bitcoin chart. Now, for anyone who's not that familiar with how to read any kind of chart like a stock market chart or Bitcoin, I too as briefly, but in as much detail as possible, explain how to read a chart. So, you see these options here on days. Let's click 1D, that means 1 day. So, what this means is, you see these greens and reds? Every one of these greens and reds, these bars, these are called candles. And we click the 1 day timeline down the bottom. Each one of these candles represents 1 day in time. So obviously today is May 6th. Yesterday, May 5th, 4th, 3rd. Change it one more time. You can do this to anything you want to the month. Right now, we're obviously in May, April, March, February, and you get the point. Right. This is where Bitcoin's price is right now. Exactly here. Roughly 94,500. Let's zoom out. Let's get the big picture. Where did Bitcoin start? Bitcoin started all the way back here. You see? All the way back there. So what can we learn from this? Well, one thing we can learn is Bitcoin's worth a lot more now than it was back in 2014, where it was worth, £2 grand, £600. 2017, it was worth 18,000, or roughly, between 14 and 18, let's say 15,000. So you get the point. Anyway, every one of these candles represents a day in time. If we change it to 1 week, now every one of these candles represents a week in time. If the candle is green, that means we're on the 1 month timeline. So February 2021, the candle's green. That means Bitcoin went up in price in February 2021. The next one is March. Bitcoin went up in price again, March 2021. The following candle is April. That one's red. So the price actually went down in April. Then it went really far down in May. Went down again in June. Then it started to recover from July to October. Went down again until November the following year. So now you get an idea of just exactly what we're looking at when we're looking at the Bitcoin graph. Right now, it looks like Bitcoin price is on its way back up after a very small pullback. We reached $107,000. We pulled back all the way to around 74. Now we're on our way back up. So we want to look at the big picture. If you're investing in Bitcoin for the long term, the price of where you buy in shouldn't really matter that much. Because, look here for example, let's just say we bought in 2017, 2018, we bought in at the high, which at that time, this was very high. Because it was down here at 700, we bought in all the way up here at $20,000. That's where we bought Bitcoin. Now, that seems high, but if you're in it for the long term, if you hold long enough, the price only goes up. So we've drawn a line across all our tops, and we can see that Bitcoin seems to hit the line. Well, it's actually an invisible line, but we've drawn a line to get an idea of what we're looking at. Bitcoin comes up to the line, pulls back, comes up to the line, pulls back, hits the line, and every time it pulls back, it hits the line again. So this is what you'd call a trend. Now, one thing we can do just to see how much the price goes up is, let's draw a line across all the tops. We'll go one here, we touch the top here, we follow it all the way through. Now we can see that Bitcoin has touched the tops every time. Now, what can Bitcoin's past say about Bitcoin's potential future? Remember, what we're looking at is from 2016, 17, all the way to present day, which is where we are. So that's what, 10 years? Let's draw this line 10 years into the future. Now, the reason we're not drawing a line like this, or drawing a line like this, is because the line pulls back, hits the line, pulls back, all the way, it keeps going all the way up, and we're keeping in line with what's happened. So we can see Bitcoin's never really successfully broke through this line. It hit the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's hit the line 6 times over the past 10 years. So to me, that looks like quite strong resistance. This invisible line is enough resistance for Bitcoin to hit the line, hit resistance, and pull back as it fails to push through. It's same again here. It's hit the line, it's hit strong resistance, and it's pulled back at around 106, 107,000. So now, let's just draw this line 10 years into the future, at keeping this resistance line where we know it is. So what's 10 years into the future? We're in 2025. Let's go 2026, 2035. Here we go. 2035. So let's just say worst case scenario. Bitcoin is a valuable asset in the future, but it never breaks this trend. It always hits, pulls back, hits, pulls back, hits, pulls back. Let's just draw that in 2035. Bitcoin's now worth 240,000. Sorry, yeah, 240,000. So I'd probably say that's worst case scenario. Bitcoin is worth 240,000 in 10 years' time. For me, that's enough of a reason to invest what I have now into Bitcoin, because that's more than 100% profit. Bitcoin, as we can see, is 97,000 today. If I can hold it for 10 years and sell it for 240,000 in the future, I'm happy with that. But if you're not happy with 240,000 and you think Bitcoin is going further up, well, first of all, I believe the same, but let's now, by looking at the graph, look at how we think that's going to happen. So, we'll keep our resistance line where it is, but what do we want to look for? Well, if you're in the Bitcoin space, a lot of people are saying somewhere. So, around about that time, experts are saying that all crypto exchanges are going to completely run out of Bitcoin. And that's because you've got people like Michael Saylor, BlackRock, America, the whole country America, with their Bitcoin strategic reserve. They're buying Bitcoin in massive quantities at a rate that is actually faster than Bitcoin can come onto the market. By the end of 2025, experts are saying, people who know a lot more than me, experts are saying that crypto exchanges are going to completely run out of Bitcoin within this year. So let's just mark this. So I saw somewhere that, I just need to edit this in, I saw somewhere that every 24 hours, 34,000 Bitcoin is being taken off exchanges. I'm guessing that means people have bought it and they're removing it onto their ledgers. I'm guessing with no intention of ever putting it back on. But yeah, every 24 hours, apparently the number is 34,000 Bitcoin that is being taken off exchanges. So if 34,000 Bitcoin is being taken off exchanges every day, and there's only 2.2 million Bitcoin left on exchanges, I've just quickly done the maths, and that's about 2 months. 2 months from today, until Bitcoin runs out. Whether it's an accurate number, I don't know. But like I say, it's got to run out sometime. So let's just say the experts are correct, and towards the end of 2025, all Bitcoin is bought from all the exchanges, and normal people like me and you, retail investors, we can no longer buy Bitcoin because it's all gone. So, what happens to a valuable asset once all supply runs out? The price rockets. As you know, with anything valuable, and there's more demand than supply, what happens to the price? The price might get here, instead of pulling back, it breaks straight through this resistance that it never has before. Because why would it go down? So let's draw this, but in a neater line. So let's get a vertical line at the end of 2025, January 2026. There we go. This is what we're looking for. Let's just say, I think the price prediction is around 200,000 by the end of this year. Whether it's likely or not, well, let's just say you don't think that's likely based on the fact that Bitcoin has never broke through this resistance. This is very, very strong resistance. But by the end of the year, supply is going to run out. So let's just say this happens. We've got one of two things that happens. Bitcoin sticks in its trend, touches the line, pulls back, touches the line, pulls back. And it does that all the way into the future, never goes any higher, and in 10 years' time, your Bitcoin's worth 240,000. Or, all the Bitcoin supply runs out, and at the end of 2025, the price rockets. Now, if we look closely, 200,000 is about here, round about there, 200 to 220,000. What I can see is, I can see another trend. Let's touch the tops. Here to here. Let's touch the tops. Then what we'll do, we'll clone this and bring it to the bottoms. Now look, we've just established, we're in a new trend where we are right now. Just like Bitcoin touches the tops, pulls back, touches the top, pulls back, it now touches the bottom. Goes up, pulls back, touches the bottom. This is our most recent move, when it pulled back, as we all know it did, to 74,000. Coincidentally, that perfectly lined up with this new upwards trend. So here's what we have. Bitcoin comes up, hits resistance, pulls back, hits support, pulls back, goes back up, hits resistance, gets stuck in here, all the reserves, all the Bitcoin supply runs out, and the price rockets. That is what I think is the most likely thing to happen. And once that happens, once Bitcoin finally, after 10 years of failing to break through this resistance, Bitcoin finally breaks through off the back end of supply running out, I don't think the price is ever coming down again from there. And once we get into this area right here, it's never going to pull back, and retail investors have missed their opportunity. Here, we'll move this roughly there. That's our price target, or that's my price target, should I say. Now, what does that say for 2035? Experts are saying that the price target for 2035 is between $1 million and $2.5 million. Well, let's just see exactly where that is. I'll delete this. So we'll go 2.5. We'll go 2035. There. This is our new price target for what people are saying is a very likely price for Bitcoin once supply runs out. Look at where we are here. This is a speck. The price is an absolute speck in the grand scheme of things. We'd have to go all the way massively higher. We'd have to get all the way up there. Now, if you're scared of buying the top, let's just say you want to invest in Bitcoin, but you're a retail investor, you've not got that much money, and you thought 100,000 is a bit too much, I'm going to wait for it to pull back. Because, like we know from the past, let's look at 2017. We buy Bitcoin at 13,000 and we think, oh, it's a bit of a risky buy, I bought in at the top. And then what happens? Over the next 2 years, Bitcoin absolutely tanks and it crashes and you lose £10,000 if you sell at the lowest point. Let's just say you buy in here, it crashes, you get scared, you think you're going to lose all your money and you sell. And a lot of people, this is what happens to them. A lot of people between 2017 and 19, they lost everything. They got completely wiped because Bitcoin was speculative around this point. Nobody was really backing it. And yeah, they lost all their money. Because they bought the top and sold the bottom. But if you're one of the few people that bought and held, you know, from 17 to 21, 4 years later, you would have almost tripled your money. Between 14,000 and 56,000. You almost triple your money. So, here's where we are right now. We're buying the top, and you're scared to buy the top. All I'd say is, if you're holding for long enough, it doesn't matter where you buy. It doesn't matter if you want to buy in at 100,000, 90,000, 200,000. If you're going to hold for long enough, supply at some point will run out. Again, supply is supposed to run out here. Once supply runs out, I do feel if you're not in Bitcoin and you do believe in Bitcoin, you think it's going to be, you think it's going to shape the future of finance, or you even just think it's going to be valuable enough for you to invest money now and then sell and make a profit in the future. I do believe this is our window. This back and forth right here is our window. And if you've not got all the Bitcoin you can in this time, I do not know what's going to happen to the retail investor once supply runs out. And as for the price rocketing, look at this all the way up here, getting to there. I mean, that seems a bit far away to me, but what do I know? Again, I'm happy. I'm completely happy with buying here, selling here, my price doubles. Well, actually, I won't be selling. I'm happy buying here, and in 10 years' time, we get to here. Actually, no. I'd be doing this. I'm happy doing this. Buying here where we are, which is what I've started doing, holding it. It never breaks this resistance. It never breaks, never breaks, never breaks. It's worth 300,000 in 2040, which is around that point. I'd like to hand it down to my daughter. I'm happy for that. If it does anything more than that, then that's just a bonus. And that is why I'm putting everything I make into Bitcoin. Sorry, this was a bit of a long-winded video. I didn't really know how to approach it. Obviously, I'm still a bit new to this. My channel's in two parts. You know, the first part is I make construction videos. I'm a plasterer. And the second part is I want people to try to understand or try to believe that normal people with normal jobs like me can invest in completely foreign things like the stock market or Bitcoin, you know, whatever it might be, and I do believe you can do that on an average wage. I'm on an average wage, but by sorting things out like debt, you know, credit cards, all that stuff that I said in my last video, I do believe average people can become wealthy in the future if they just put the money in the right places. But yeah, to get back to it, apparently there's only 2 million Bitcoin left on the exchanges. 2 million Bitcoin in circulation right now. Whether that's true or not, you know, let's just say the numbers are correct. At the rate the big corporations and the banks and the billionaires are buying the Bitcoin, at the rate that they're doing it, it does seem to line up quite well that by the end of the year, Bitcoin will run out. And yeah, when Bitcoin runs out, I feel like people like me and you, who don't have as much money as them, we will be pushed out of the picture, and our ability to buy Bitcoin will become 100 times harder. Part of that reason is because me and you, because we don't earn that much money in comparison to the people who can buy whatever they want. People can buy the world and it have no effect on their wealth or their lifestyle. We're not in that boat. A lot of people think right now to buy Bitcoin, you're buying at the top and it's too high. It's $100,000. But in 2017, $14,000 was the high. So that was too high. But I guarantee you ask anyone right now, if you could go back and buy one Bitcoin for $14,000 back in 2017, would you do it? I know I would. So yeah, you might be wanting to get into crypto right now, but you're also thinking, I don't have a lot of money. I've only got £200, I've got $1,000, whatever it might be. I don't want to buy at the top, I want to wait for it to come down. If you wait too long, you will miss your opportunity. If you believe in Bitcoin, there's no reason to watch the pennies. Just get in and wait if you believe in Bitcoin. If you're trying to day trade, then yeah, wait for it to pull back. Buying, you know, a lot of this video, you'll already know how to read the market if you want to day trade, or you know, if you're already doing that. But if that's what you want to do, you know, buy in low, sell high, wait for it to drop, buy low, sell high again, and profit on the way up, and day trade it that way, great. But just know that every time you buy, then you sell for a profit, there's a good chance that you're not going to be able to buy that profit, that Bitcoin back, because supply is running out. If your game plan is to buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high, there's going to come a point where you sell high and you can no longer buy back in low. So my game plan is buy always and hold forever, and then pass it down to my daughter. Like saying, back in 2017, people would have been thinking, I don't want to buy at 14 grand. I'm going to wait till it drops down to 13,900. 14 is a bit too high. I'll wait for 13,900 and then I'll sell higher. They wait too long, and they never get an opportunity to buy back in at such a low price, because it's safe to say, if Bitcoin's going to be valuable in the future, it's never getting back down to $14,000. And if people say history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme, if history continues to rhyme, we're going to go up, down, up, higher, all the way up, and in 5 years time you'll be lucky to have bought Bitcoin at $100,000. That's my opinion, but I believe in it. Yeah, sorry it was a long-winded video. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, feel free to give me a thumbs up and just write a comment. Cheers.